Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Detroit Become Human. I am Circle Master, and joining me tonight we have Anticheese.
All the way from New Zealand. Hello.
And Anticheese is a rarity among guests in that they actually watch the entire LP.
I know, God help me, but I enjoyed it enough that I volunteered to come on here, which makes me the biggest idiot of all, but I can't wait to see just how batshit this ends up.
Well, we've come to a natural organic pumpkin farm in the middle of winter, apparently.
As one often does. Where apparently renewable energy is a big thing, but not enough to knock down the old water tower, windmill fan thing, which I guess is there because you're legally mandated to have that sort of ambience in an organic farm.
Am I allowed to check out this car? Nope. I am only allowed to talk to person.
Hello? I'm looking for Rose. Is she here?
What do you want with her?
I need to talk to her.
She doesn't want to talk. Go away.
Please, I really need to see her.
I'm Rose. What can I do for you?
I was told you could help us.
Help you? Come on. It's better if we talk inside.
So, how much do you know about the American history of slavery?
I wouldn't say enough, but I understand that they're going for a lot of underground railroad parallels here and being very ham-handed with it.
You don't have a choice.
Okay, because that was what I was going to ask. Is do you know? Have you heard of the Underground Railroad? Do you know what it was?
Definitely not a subway, but the idea was that it was a network of safe houses and like waypoints and whatnot that escaped slaves would use to get to the northern states. Am I on the right track?
Yeah. So now we have the Underground Railroad for androids run by black people because subtlety.
There's a spare room upstairs. You can put her to bed and I'll bring her something to eat. Adam, will you show them upstairs?
I mean, David Cage and subtle do not belong in the same sentence. And when I saw this the LP earlier on with the Marcus chapters when he was getting on the buses, when I saw the
objective did
back
it
of the
give me?
bus thing, pardon?
Oh, it wants me to go upstairs. It didn't show me the objective, I thought, or I missed it. Anyway, keep
But
going.
yeah, we had Rosa Parks nods. We had the Underground Railroad here, and honestly, I'm not sure what more he can do to drive the point home from here, but I'm sure he's going to try.
Oh yeah, the woman is named Rose, just in case it was not driven home enough that Rosa Parks is a person.
It's actually sort of embarrassing, but because of just how much American media there is, it's a whole lot easier to pick up on your history by just watching a whole bunch of TV than it is to pick up on New Zealand and Australian history, and especially where our history of race relations is concerned. it's much less of a topic that gets as much airtime, as it were.
Fine, Gar. We can't stop because of me. We've got to get across the border.
You need rest. Get a good night's sleep, and we'll set off again tomorrow.
Yeah,
Humans hate us. We didn't do anything.
the fact that America's #1 export is culture means that I missed what she asked.
Yeah. A lot of stuff gets transferred in the
Sometimes
process
it's
there.
difficult to understand them.
Yeah,
Can't we
a lot
just
of
talk to each other?
other countries just pick
It's
up on
not bad.
American history just through cultural osmosis.
I mean, Drunk History is a great show. I love it.
One day we will.
But yeah, there's also just a whole lot of background material. I do think it would be neat if New Zealand had more domestically produced TV that was like about us instead of just coasting on Lord of the Rings forever. There are a couple of shows that shoot here, but
Sleep
I
tight.
didn't actually hear about it until they'd stopped shooting, like the Evil Dead TV series.
Anything.
Get some sleep.
Now, I just want to mention that spaghetti is what was for dinner on that tragic night where we had to kill Todd. I mean,
I'll stay with her a while.
we got to kill Todd. So I'm not sure that Alice is actually going to eat spaghetti. There's
Symbolic spaghetti.
some traumatic memories associated with spaghetti for Alice, I think.
So I recall there was a magazine article earlier in the game where they were talking about how Canada has different laws for robot rights, but
Canada doesn't
mean,
have laws for robot
Rose, but you know
rights.
that already.
Robots are basically just not allowed to be sold in Canada. So therefore there's no regulations regarding them as far as all androids have to be this, all androids have to ride in the back of the bus, all androids are property. So it's just an easier place for them to
Her
hide.
father was beating her.
gotcha.
You can just take off the LED and act human and nobody will think twice because there's not scanners everywhere
All of a sudden, I felt like
or
her life
anything
was
like
more
that.
important than mine. I had to protect her.
There's not the ubiquity of the android
Ran
presence,
away.
and there's not the suspicion that anybody could be an android, so you just run away to
Not the first
Canada
ones to
and
come
blend
in.
in as a human and you're good.
These past few weeks.
Yeah, 'cause I have to admit that I was fully expecting Cage to take a nod at the Fugitive Slaves Act and have like captured androids shipped back to the US or something
Why are
like
you
that.
helping us? Most humans hate androids.
My people were often made to feel their lives were worthless. Some survived, but only because they found others who helped them along the way.
We've heard you help androids cross the border. Can you help us?
The only way is over the river, and it's mostly frozen in winter. It's very risky. And after that android speech on TV, everybody's on edge. It's probably safer for you to stay here until things settle down.
We can't keep hiding like this. Alice needs to feel safe and have a normal life. We have to get across that border. No matter what.
Yeah, the weird thing
I'm
is it's not
surpri-
actually suggested what would happen if an android were caught in Canada, whether it would be shipped back or destroyed or
Rose,
what.
come quickly.
I'm also surprised that she didn't ask what speech, because if she is out there trudging along in the snow and staying off the grid, then it's probably not likely that she's been anywhere near TV or even been wanting to check up on the news, because if you have an internet connected device, then they can track
She
you.
just shut down.
Well, they've been driving a car that's had a radio on the news, so
Yeah, fair
We
enough.
escaped together. We used to talk about what we would do once we got across the border. I loved her. I loved her more than anything. What will I do without her?
RA9 showing up again.
Yep.
Let's let them be.
Speaking of things showing up out of nowhere, Alice, don't watch the androids dying. It's not good for you. Just think about how when I shot Todd, how awesome that was.
Just think about the spaghetti.
It's okay.
Something something mom spaghetti, Eminem. I don't actually listen to Eminem, but something, there was
Fun
something in
fact.
that song about mom spaghetti, right?
Yeah, and also, speaking of that exact song, Eminem actually sued one of New Zealand's major parties over use of a song that was almost like, but not quite, that track. In fact, it was so much of a knockoff that it was even called Eminem-esque,
Dangerous.
because that's apparently a thing that the
We'll go to prison.
party that was in power until the last election and leaned towards the right needed in its political ads.
I won't back down this time.
Well, you got to relate to the kids with the music and the raps and the hip hop
They are not machines.
and the
They are
inflatable
alive.
sneakers
I'm alive.
and
You're alive,
Pokemons
They're
and
nothing.
the fidget spinners.
And none of this would be happening if Dad was still here.
I will not
Yeah, thanks,
stand
Steve
for that
Buscemi.
kind of talk.
How else will they
I'm not going to
Pokemon
prison
go to the
because you
polls?
want to help these freaks.
That is enough, Adam! That's enough!
Domestic disputes from the world of tomorrow.
Don't mind him.
Yeah, they are mother and son, in
Sometimes he
case
just
that
walks
wasn't
over.
obvious or you missed it while you were talking about politics.
Since his dad passed away.
Yeah, I actually thought that they were that was her husband. So thank you very much for clearing that up.
Oh, I guess she's just saying it now, so I guess I jumped the gun on that reveal.
was
Whatever.
getting you across
Spoilers.
the border tonight.
Hashtag spoilers from 5 seconds in the future.
Stay here. I won't be long.
Can I read this magazine now, finally? Thank you. World War III. Who would win it? Obviously the aliens.
I'm calling it now. There's going to be an ending where you do trigger World War III and the robots
Hey, that's
assimilate the
us.
internet and turn into Mind Goku.
Look at this. We're $900. Kara is cheaper than an RTX 2060. If you could play
Good
games
grief.
on her, then who needs graphics cards in the future?
I mean, hell, forget that. How does, like, if you have that. No, I'm not even going to try and put this into any kind of real world context. I'm just going to let that stand as it is because, goddamn.
Hey Luther, what's up?
I hope Rose gets back soon.
Carol, there's something I need to tell you. It's about Alice.
Not now, Luther.
Oh, I guess we're going to shun Luther. Never mind. Can I talk to Alice? Nope. What's this? Oh, it's just old clothes.
She seems to spend an awful lot of time huddled in front of fireplaces.
Well, she keeps complaining about being cold and sick, so it kind of makes sense.
I can see why you're angry. We don't want to cause any problems, we just want to get across the border.
Okay, yeah, he's playing on a phone instead of listening to a girl talk. He's definitely
The police.
a teenager.
It's the
Well,
police.
it is a fake girl, so.
What are we gonna do?
Oh, it's the coppers. We gotta hide the evidence of
Open
us.
the door.
I love. You mentioned in the last one that you love how the other android's OS has a time till death.
Hurry, Luther, take Alice.
I like
hide
that there's a time until you get caught by the cops.
upstairs.
Come on, Alice.
I want to believe that's diegetic.
Camera, turn around. Jeez. Okay, apparently those clothes are not evidence. Alright, we should probably hide this ad featuring ourselves. Aha, that's everything.
Good evening, ma'am. Sorry to disturb you. We've had reports of androids in the area. With all this deviant business going on, you can't be too careful. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
So, this cop is here because there are reports of androids in the area in a realm and time when everybody owns androids as domestic servants.
And where androids cost less than a used car.
Where androids cost less than a home computer.
Have you noticed
Or
anything unusual recently?
Even
a
some
cell
mobile
phone.
phones.
You can get an Android for less than an iPhone.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot more models available, but
There's my daughter. She's asleep upstairs.
I don't know why, but that little hesitation for the next prompt was really funny. Like, wait, how do I make coffee again?
It's not how I make coffee, it's how do I pour coffee again.
Loading pourcoffee.exe.
Loading tilts.exe. I guess I have to keep holding L1. I guess Kara's going to awkwardly shuffle backwards because NPCs are not allowed to touch each other in this game. %0 suspicion level.
Don't underestimate the power of a good cup of coffee.
What's your name, son?
Adam. My name is
Oh
Adam.
god, I only just noticed the armband on the cop, who is going in, searching a house for, I guess you could call androids a minority we're supposed to sympathize with in this case, but just...
Do you know anything about
Oh,
deviants?
damn it, Cage.
Have you seen any?
No. No. I haven't seen anything.
So if you don't talk to him before the cop asks questions, does he maybe go, yeah, actually I have seen some androids around?
No, you're
Or
required to talk
otherwise-
to him before the scene progresses. He was one of the mandatory
Somebody else in the house?
objectives.
It's nothing. The washing machine. It's an old model. It makes a terrible racket.
Sorry for the inconvenience. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Adam.
He's gone.
It's okay, Alice. We'll be safe now.
It's Rose.
Get yourselves ready. We leave tonight.
And so we took a midnight train going anywhere.
So what happens if you don't fool the policeman?
There are numerous ways to not fool the policeman, and in most of them, Luther dies.
I was kind of hoping for using gun to solve the problem and then making everything worse being an option, but yeah,
No,
that was a thing that just happened.
it's mostly either Luther or Alice gets found by the policeman, or possibly, at the very end, the other deviant androids. And Luther fights the cop, and they kill each other. So Luther dies killing the policeman. And then just Luther's dead, and you have to leave. It's a 51, I guess, 49 split for whether or not you let Alice see the dying androids. I find that kind of odd.
Yeah, normally it seems like a lot of those optional choices have been a bit more clear cut. At least when it's been a binary thing. When it's been a choice of like four things, people seem to be a bit more spread out. But let's look over to the right.
I don't remember what this other thing is here, this other branch for when you get Alice ready for bed. Exploring the house, I think I just dilly-dallied too long.
Yeah, none of those have got branches going off it, so it's probably just like stuff that you've seen. So there's a 1% chance that Adam doesn't panic.
No, it's, if you look back at the beginning, there's 99% of people arrive at this chapter.
Oh,
which
right,
means
right.
that 1% of people have Kara die before they get to this point in the game.
I thought that was 99% of people that have played this chapter, not 99% of absolutely all players.
No, it's all players. So yeah, I guess depending on what option you take or something, you can lower the tension. I guess that is an optional thing. But I don't think that it's a required thing, because as you can see, he always panics when the cop arrives at the door. But yeah, whether you hide all the evidence, apparently a lot of people miss the magazine cover. Either that, or they just don't read the magazine, so the cover never changes in the first place, so they don't have to.
It could be that, and also maybe like a lot of people don't read those things out of habit.
Yeah.
So like they just
Either way, either because they don't need to or they forget to. Most people don't change the magazine cover.
and hiding upstairs. So there's another branch depending on where things are hidden there.
Yeah, you can either send him upstairs into the laundry room with the other deviants or into the kitchen. The kitchen is wrong. If you send Luther into the kitchen, he's guaranteed to be found, and that kills Luther.
Gotcha. It would be really nice. Like, if you complete the game and then you go back for another playthrough, it doesn't tell you what these other branches are, right?
You have to find the branches to open them up.
Before we recorded, we had a brief conversation about the Twitch integration with current generation consoles and how a bunch of stuff like Persona 5 blocks a whole lot of story content from being broadcast. And like this kind of obfuscation, especially if you've played more than once, just seems kind of pointless in like he's trying to pad for, well, you should play again and up our playtime metrics.
Well, it is a way to encourage people to get 100% completion in the game, and there is a trophy for that. But I actually prefer this big spreadsheet of here are all the different options and here are your different choices that we're going to show you at the end of the chapter, as opposed to the Telltale games. Here's a billion choices that you make during the game, but we're only going to show you the results of 5 of them, and you have to pray and guess as to which ones might actually affect the ending. Oh wait, never mind, the ending is fixed, and there is no choices. There's just
Yeah,
5 seconds
I
of
was
variance in the cutscenes.
I agree with you that this is actually a way better way of showing off um, just the sort of content that there is in this medium. Like with Telltale games, it's a similar branching structure, but just reducing it down to a X% voted for this, and not showing you like actually you could have done this is a bit disappointing. Although I guess that's moot because Telltale is now dead.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still impart lessons on other game developers. And I would prefer that in future other game developers do a system similar to this where you have a flowchart that fills in rather than here is an arbitrary number of completely binary choices that don't affect the ending and ultimately.
And it doesn't even need to be adventure games. There are, in some, let's say, shooters, maybe you have a couple of different ways to go about infiltrating a building, like in the Deus Ex Human Revolution. In the first mission that you have after the tutorial, you can go through the front, you can go through some vents. The rest of the game is not so open with the different approaches that you have, but it would be neat because you do have those sort of mission breaks to break down the options that might have been possible and see what other people did.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you very much for this. Sorry I wasn't a better guest, but it was interesting watching this and being the first, and I'm looking forward to seeing just how ridiculous things get with the touch.
Oh, things are going to get ridiculous even with Kara. You won't even believe.
Well, I mean, I did see that she had like the ability to make her hand look more roboty. I'm not sure if that implies that maybe she could do the same thing connecting with other androids, or if that's just a hey, look, remember how androids have got complete control over their appearance? They can do this too. But
yeah, that's just pulling back their artificial skin. And we did see in the first Marcus bit that androids can communicate wirelessly. That was how he bought the paint.
Yeah, and like the little
so like
LED
it's not
thing
it's not the wireless or the connecting thing, because Connor can probe memories too. Like the connection thing is not the special thing; it's the complete brainwashing. That's the special thing that Marcus does.
Yeah, and like just I'm at a loss for words.
Well, then that makes this a good spot to end. So I want to thank you, Anticheese, for coming aboard.
Well, thank you, Circle Master. It's been a pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest.
And until next time, take care.
Bye.